Hey, welcome back to Driven Channel, and I'm here with a guest here that I've known for a lot of years. It's kind of cool because we've known each other from like your beginnings and my beginnings in a way, because you were like getting started with your car dealer, with your car wash, the exotic car wash.
Yeah, auto detailing.
And that's where I met you. But I think back then you only had that. So before that though, I want to just introduce Edwin Lopez, an entrepreneur. You have quite a few businesses now, and you've grown a lot. And you're like my version but Salvadorian. So you're Salvadorian, I'm Mexican, but we're so alike.
Right.
So I'm very intrigued to ask you some things I don't know yet, and some things that everybody here doesn't know yet about Edwin, because you've obviously grown a lot. So for those that don't know Edwin Lopez, who is Edwin Lopez besides being an entrepreneur, being from El Salvador? Who is Edwin Lopez and what do you do now?
Yeah. So I'm 43 years old. I was originally born in El Salvador. I came to this country when I was like 1 year old. Straight through like the river and everything, jumped the fence, the whole thing. You know, obviously I was a baby and all that, but you know, just somebody who came in here because my parents wanted a better opportunity, just like your parents and all that, you know, and grew up in the hood, grew up in the ghetto, grew up around gangs. I was never in gangs or nothing like that, but in my environment, you know, it was around it and just bad influence. And it was around when I turned 25 that I got introduced to entrepreneurship and, you know, really changed my mindset. But I've always been a hustler, even since I was a child. I always sold stuff. I always sold my toys. I always try to figure out how to make money. Even prior to being an entrepreneur, I sold drugs and, you know, things like that, just to kind of like make a living. But I always was a hustler in one format or another. I always wanted more out of life. I just didn't know how or which way to go. I didn't have any guidance. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So I think I met you when I was like 33, like 32, 33. When I got my first Ferrari, I was like 32 and we were across the street. And maybe I met you a little bit before that, but just like high and by. But I really got to know you like right there, like 2016-ish. I'm 32. I have my Ferrari, my 458, and then I got the Rolls. And then you started coming to detail my car, and you had the exotic detailing, and you were charging you gave me a discount, but it was still like a higher price than normal car washes because you were focused on the high-end cars.
Yeah.
But when you were doing that, I remember you were wearing like your outfit, your detailed outfit.
Yeah.
Was that all you were doing back then? Because I remember one of your first things that you told me was, "Hey, I'm a friend of Patrick's. I know Patrick. I used to wash his cars over there at the Glendale house and all that." So talk about like how you met Patrick, how you were washing his cars. And then you came and you were washing my cars across the street. Like, how was first Patrick? And then when you started doing my cars, how much money were you making back then? And what was your real situation back then? Were you doing good? Were you doing bad? What was on your mind back then?
Yeah. So
going back to Patrick first.
Yeah. I met Patrick back in like 2006, 2007. Back prior to PHP days. And Patrick, obviously, he's always been a phenomenal individual and all that, but obviously to where he's at now and the status is completely different. You know what I mean? Years, we're talking about 15, 16 years later. But Patrick has always had that special influence, knowledge, the way he carries himself, the way he delivers things that I knew, like, man, this guy he's always been knowledgeable. But in that moment, because I was just so hungry for information, and when I got introduced to entrepreneurship, I knew that was somebody that I could learn from. So, you know, I offered my services. I was part of his company at that time. But more than anything, I just wanted to be around individuals who were thinking higher and bigger. And him, and along with other agents, they just kind of like took me under their wings. And you know, when I would detail Patrick's vehicles, it wasn't so much because I wanted to service his vehicles, kind of like you. I wanted to be around that proximity, and just kind of learn and ask questions. And I used to have this thing where I make fun of it, where it used to be 2 minutes with Pat, because after I would service his vehicles, I knew that he was going to come out, and I had from his door to his car door that I could ask him 2 or 3 questions, because he wouldn't stop. He'd be like, have to go to a meeting or something. So that I would ask him questions. I would write it out the night before, or some concerns I would have about my business. And it kind of went like that for years, you know, and he took a liking to me because I would always execute with the things he would tell me, whether it was reading a book, whether it was doing changes to my company, the way I would do my marketing. And so, because just like anybody who's a mentor, when they see that you're inputting the work or the information they give you, you kind of want to give more, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what I would do. I would just kind of take all the information and I just would put it into action.
So this was 2006, 7?
Yeah, around 2006, 7.
So 2006, 7, you were detailing his cars?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of cars did he have
like
back then?
A Corvette. He had like a Tahoe. He had, this was even prior to his 458. He had a motorcycle, like a Harley. So this is way, way back in the days before even exotics or anything crazy.
And you were working in insurance with him?
Yeah, I did the insurance with him. And I also had a check cashing store at that time.
Was this a prior company that he used to work with?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And how much money was he making back then? 06.
I have no idea, but I'm sure it wasn't. I have no idea. But
if you would have to guess, how much would you guess?
500 grand.
But he was like one of the high rollers right there.
Yeah.
06, 07.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at his stories, he'll tell you in that moment where when he started PHP, he was down to like $13,000, and you know, to his name. So it's out there. He's put it out there. So obviously it wasn't like he had millions to bankroll. I'm sure he invested a lot of his savings, but just like anybody who starts a business, he put it all on the line. You know what I mean? And he even says there was a point where he only had $13,000 to his name once he started PHP and all that.
Because that was 06. I met you like 10 years later.
Yeah.
What happened in those 10 years? How much money were you making there? You were making probably a lot.
Shit, right? I don't know. Maybe like 40 grand, 50 grand a year.
So what happened the next 10 years?
So I've always had this obsession with high level individuals. I've always knew forever that proximity was everything. I didn't know what it was called. I just knew that I wanted to be around people who were successful, you know? And so I've always had this obsession where like I wanted to be around people who had more, did more, made more, you know, talked good and all that. And so like I told myself, like, the mobile detailing, if I focus on luxury and exotic vehicles, it'll give me that bridge where I could surround myself around those individuals. So I don't know if you remember, I would wear a tie. I would wear a long sleeve shirt. My presentation was always great. My vans always looked nice. Yeah. So even though I was broke, I wanted to be around there. And I knew that if I gave a good presentation of myself, that it would kind of like inspire people to be like, or interest people to be like, what's this guy all about? And it worked for me, you know? That's why I was able to meet people like Ty Lopez, all these other individuals back when they started, even before they became super famous, you know?
But the 10 years that went from 06 to 2016 from when we met, did you go from like 40K to 45K to 50K, 55K? Did you grow like very little each year?
Yeah, I did.
Because when I met you in 2016, I don't think you were a millionaire, were you?
No.
So like what happened all those 10 years? Like why didn't you grow exponentially those 10 years? Or why, like, talk about like your ups and downs and your struggles and who you met, who you didn't, mistakes, like what happened? Because that's a long time, 10 years.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy. I thought you met Patrick a little bit before me, but you met him 10 years before me when he was getting started. And then those 10 years, like what happened? Like what did you do all those 10 years?
Well, I definitely watched cars for too long. You know what I mean? I just think...
Was that your only income?
Yeah, I had a check cashing store at that time for like 3 years, but that shit went to shit. Like we lost that right away. The recession happened. People were cashing fake checks. It was just a big mess that happened. So I lost a lot of money on that. But that money, I got it from refinancing my parents' house, taking that money and investing it, and not taking money that I shouldn't have because I didn't know how to really handle money at that time. You know what I mean? Which was a bad mistake that I did in my part and a learning lesson. But, you know, it's taught me the things that I know now that's made me greater. But that's because I never gave up. But nevertheless, those 10 years, I started to continue to just wash cars, build relationships. My biggest problem was that I didn't know how to manage people. And I was always afraid to hire people. And I kept asking the wrong people how to manage and hire people. And those were people who were normally like insurance agents, people who are 1099.
So you were taking advice from the wrong people?
Yeah, from the wrong people. And there was a moment where I was all like, I need to stop talking to fucking people who don't have employees because they were successful,
That's
right?
what I tell people all the time, but they're like, I see them getting coached by broke people. Like,
yeah. And it's like, and it took me so long. And I was like, one day it just hit me. I was like, why because I thought people just because they had money, they knew how to manage people.
well, why did it happen to you? Why do you think people, like, for example, they have somebody like me right here, but then they go and get coached by like somebody that's broke? Like, why do people make that mistake of they continue to get advice from the wrong source?
I think a lot has to do with it. Well, two things from what I've seen in my experience. One is ego. And I think people like just, if they know you or they don't want to let their guard down, because you have to, right? You have to let it all out. You have to tell people, look, this is where I'm fucking up. I don't have this. I'm struggling on this. I'm backed up on payments on this, whatever it might be, and just be vulnerable so that way they can give you the proper guidance. Because if I sit here and have a one-on-one with you and you tell me, Edwin, tell me where you're struggling, and oh, nothing, bro, I got 2 million in the bank, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be like, okay, then what do you really need help in, right? Mm-hmm. So I need to be, a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable on that sector. And then the second, I think that people, when they're not ready, they want to hear the advice that makes them feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like they want to talk to their wives, they want to talk to their girlfriends, they want to talk to their spouse, and they don't want to get their ego crushed. So they want to hear advice, but to what makes them feel good. You know what I mean? To what aligns with what they're willing to do. And it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. The message I get here is like, if you, like, for example, if you go and you ask Patrick or Bobby Castro or somebody like that, like, hey, this is where I'm at and this is the reality, then they're going to tell you, bro, you're fucking up. Like, you're fucking, like, are you stupid or what? But then if you go with somebody that's broke or dumb, then they're going to tell you, oh, you're doing good. Yeah, you're good. So I think people sometimes want to get their ego stroked as opposed to being like kind of torn down and told you're fucking up, wake up. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah. How do you like to get mentorship? Do you like to be told rough, like straight up? Or do you like to be like, hey, well, listen, here's the metrics. How do you like to be mentored? To
be told like blunt and rough and,
see, that's
and tough, because that's the only thing that's going to help you. If you want to be around yes people, that's not going to make you better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think most people are like that. That's why they go. I mean, that's the answer. That's why they go. I think that's why the brokies go hang out with the brokies. The negative people go hang out with the negative people. And the toxic people go hang out with the toxic people. Pretty much like all the people that were like the rejects, they end up in the rejects club together.
Yeah.
And because they all have one thing in common. They hate the person on top. And they just can't stand it. Instead of leveling up and them executing and winning themselves, it's just very intimidating for them, I guess. And they just want to be around the groupies that never made it. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's weird and funny in a way, but nowadays, like, just going a little bit forward to today with the economy the way it is and how it's challenging and different, a lot of people change with time. And when tough times come, they bring out the true colors of those people. I'm sure in business nowadays, as you've grown it, you've noticed some people that come and go, but you add new people. And I was looking at a picture from 3 years ago, and I'm like, damn, this picture from 3 years ago, a company picture. I'm like, only 2 people from this picture still exist here in the company. Everybody else is gone. And I'll tell you what, everybody that left, let me ask you something. Like, how many of those do you think are doing better right now?
Fuck, I don't even hear about them anymore.
Zero of them are doing good, are doing not better, but they're not even doing good right now. So that is just that is a testament for people watching or people doubting, or people are like, hey, who should I listen to? Well, listen to the person with the track record that has been leveling up and every year gets better. And even though there's ups and downs, even though there's recessions, even though there's hard times, like 08, you went through 08. When people continue to level up and they still look good and they look better every year and the business keeps growing, and I think that's where the credibility is. And those are the people you should listen to. That's the source of advice you should listen to. So for you, I noticed that like those 10 years, maybe you didn't grow like you wanted, but then another 10 years passed or 7 more years, and we're in 2023. And you're a completely different Edwin than the Edwin I met in 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have changed a lot in a sense. But honestly, like looking back now, when people tell me like, you saw me at the Ty Lopez where you spoke at, and it's like I spoke to him at the Driven, and it was like, I've known him and I've known a lot of individuals who are from way back in the days who are huge now, but I've always knew that being around these individuals, even before they were big, that something big was going to happen. Even with you, like, because I remember when I was intrigued when I went to Driven 1. When I went there, I went because somebody gave me a free ticket and said Grant Cardone was going to be there.
That was 2017.
So 2017. So I went there and I was like, oh, my friend knew you, and he was like, he was a real estate agent. Well, I don't know what happened, but he was like, oh, my, Albert's throwing this. And I was like, who's Albert? And he's like, you don't know who he is? I was like, no. He's like, but Grant Cardone's going to be like, that's all that mattered. And when I went there, I was so intrigued by your story. And I was like, fuck, who is this guy? And it's obviously the common, us being Hispanic and all that, it very like intrigued me. And I was all like, okay, cool. And I remember getting one of your business cards there, and I was like, I'm gonna make this guy my mentor. And I don't know if you remember, after that, I got a 3-hour session for you. It was cheap as fuck. It was like $5,000 at that time for 3 hours. And I didn't have that money, bro. Like I genuinely was still struggling at that time. Not struggling, but I didn't have that kind of money to put out. Or at least I felt like I was scared to invest that kind of money, And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And I went in there and I was all like, I'm going to make this guy my client. And it's never been because of the money I'm going to make from servicing your vehicles. It was just, I wanted to be around you. I wanted to know how you did it. And I wanted to kind of like tap into your resources in a sense that like everything that you give out,
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where our relationship started. Because honestly, after that, I was more intrigued about meeting you and, being close to you, because Grant was great and everything. And he's an amazing individual, but he was just different than what I thought, in a sense that like what I needed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were here, you had employees, you were Hispanic, you spoke about, your struggles they were kind of similar to mine and all that. And then that's really what inspired me to really hone in and really get to know you.
When did you meet Ty Lopez? Was it in that 10-year period?
Bro, when he did my garage that day, like in that house, everything. Like that actual car, we pulled it out, everything, the same bookshelves.
What were you doing there?
What do you mean?
What were you doing in the house back then?
Oh, like what was I washing his cars?
You were washing his cars?
Yeah.
What year was that?
I want to say it's been like 8-9 years, whatever 8-9 years ago was. So
that was like 2014?
2014, 15. It was literally like within that time frame.
That was a couple of years before you met me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then you were washing these cars. Did you stay in? Oh, you told me, right, that you used to just kind of say, like the same as Patrick,
bro. Everybody,
hi and bye, and just short conversations.
Yeah. Anybody that I come around, I always have questions to ask. Anybody that I don't have a problem, bro, asking for help. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't have a problem asking for mentorship. 10 years, that 10-year period. I know you have kids. Were you married, and is that when you had your kids, or yeah? Well, how was your relationship back then? I got married in 2010, 2011, and I thought it was great because you want to, you think that you have somebody that's running in the same direction, thinks like you, thinks big. And unfortunately, it wasn't that, you know what I mean? We grew apart. We realized that we weren't right for each other. And there was misery for years. I think the marriage was like 5-6 years. And I think the last 3 years was just more like we were coexisting than anything, until we realized like this shit isn't good for anybody. You know what I mean? And I think I was 36, 37 when we officially decided like to cut it off and all that. And that's genuinely when my business boomed. That's literally like my business like tripled, everything. I honed in. I didn't compromise with anybody.
Why do you think so?
Because it was just the negativity. Who you're around, who's your business partner, who's your significant other. Like me and Kim, like that's why like it's a non-negotiable. One thing that I love about Grant Cardone, and I'm sure you've seen this reel that he does, he told Elena Cardone, he told her, look, I'll give you anything in the world except my dreams, and I took that to heart when I heard that. And I was like, that's something that I just will not compromise. Because your partners will make you or break you. They'll slow you down. They'll boost you up. They'll fucking hold you down, like all kinds of shit. And that's what happened to me. We were in it ended so long ago, and we held on to it too long that it slowed me down. I compromised. I wasn't working as hard. I wasn't traveling as much. I wasn't as compassionate as much. I was, in a sense, just not happy. You know what I mean? And I just, as soon as literally that month when I moved out, everything just went up. So I had nothing else to focus on aside from my kids. Everything else was work and pound away, you know?
When did you realize that you were with the wrong person?
3 years prior, maybe like 3 years after our marriage.
So you just stayed together because of the kids?
Yeah. Yeah, like it was just comfort.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
And it's all with the same person?
No, only one.
So you have a history of, are you like Brad Lee with, because Brad has, I think, 6 kids with 4 different wives.
No, so I have, when I was 18 years old, I had my daughter.
Yeah.
So she's obviously
when you
older.
were how old?
I was 18 years old. 18. I had just turned 18.
Yeah.
So I had my daughter, and then my 2 kids are with the same mom, but like I raised my oldest son since he was 3. So he's mine, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Your oldest son is the one that I think I met, no?
Yeah.
He was working with
you.
Yeah.
So
you still keep a tight relationship with all of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Except my daughter is kind of rough. You know, I was young. I was stupid. I wasn't really the most reliable dad. I tried in the beginning. It was rough. Back then, being 18 and trying to figure out how to work the court system. In California, that shit beats the shit out of you. So it was super discouraging for me, you know?
Yeah.
And then at the end, I was just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't have, but I did. And I was just like, luckily she had a good stepdad that raised her good. You know what I mean? But I just realized, like, 1, I wasn't ready to be a dad. 2, I tried fighting the court system, and then it just beats the shit out of you, especially here in California. And then 3, unfortunately, you do what you're not supposed to do. And I just gave up, and I was like, I'm done, you know? And I just continued to live my life.
So in 2016-ish, when you're taking care of my cars across the street, where is Edwin back then? Like what's your income like? What are your businesses that you have? Like, how are you at that point?
I was probably making about at least over $100,000 at that time. It wasn't bad, but it definitely was a living. It wasn't a lifestyle. You know what I mean? In a sense that everything was my own labor, which is you can only do so much per day. You know what I mean? So depending on how many cars I wash or detail, that's as big as I could get. I don't think I had not acquired the gym yet with my business partner, but I was just doing the same shit, and I knew that I wanted an exit plan out in a sense that I didn't want to do it anymore. And that's kind of like why I seeked your mentorship at that time, to really figure out how to manage people, because even to this day, that's probably the most difficult thing that I have to do.
Was that the only job you had back then?
Yeah, that's it.
So you were just
washing cars,
an exotic detailer.
I was a good ass one too. In a sense that I was good at sales.
Yeah. And you had a team though, didn't you?
I mean, it was it was me, Kim. I had
Kim was there?
Yeah, Kim was there. You helped me for a bit doing mobile. Until when? Oh, so she came into after
she wasn't
COVID.
there in 2016.
No, so it was like, it was just a guy or two that I had, and this was prior to that.
I remember one time I was like kind of pissed, and I'm like what the fuck? Like, this is not Edwin.
Yeah.
Because you would always come and take care of the cars yourself.
You sound like the celebrities that I would deal with.
And then you started sending some people, and I'm some guys, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is not Edwin.
Yeah.
Is that when you started kind of scaling? Like, you started growing your?
I thought that people fucked me, bro. Like, people stole my customers. So back then I would teach people like, hey, you got to read books. Hey, self-development. Hey, this is how you do sales. Hey, this is how you sell. This is how you upsell.
Because you sold me on, you can't let anybody wash like your Ferrari or exotics, your Rolls Royce. There's a different way of washing them.
Yep.
And then I became paranoid. I'm like, oh shit, I can't let anybody wash these cars.
I sold the vision, bro. That's what you're supposed to do.
Is that true? Like
absolutely, bro. I don't even know what you're doing nowadays, because you know what I mean? Because there's just nobody else like us, bro. Genuinely. Like, we are number one in the industry. Do we want everybody? No, we've made a lot of changes of the way we service people's cars. Now it's more of a membership base and a relationship base, as opposed to like the masses. It doesn't matter anymore if you're a celebrity or you're an influencer or whatever it might be. The relationship has to be there. And we look for those who value their time. So it's not so much the service, your time, right? So like, let's say if you have a meeting and you expect me to be here at 11 on my team, then you value time. So when people value time, they're willing to pay whatever it is that you want to charge them. But if I'm a regular mobile detailer and I tell you, hey, you tell me, Edwin, be here at 11 to wash my Ferrari, and I show up at 11:20 and I make you late and you don't care, you're going to be willing to pay whatever it takes. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the trade-off. Yes, we charge a lot more, but for convenience, for service, for quality, for, our expertise, for being reliable, all those sorts of things that we do for our customers. And those are the customers that we want, because those type of customers are more loyal to stay with you. And if somebody else comes in and says, I'll do it cheaper, they're like, nah, I'm good. I'd rather stick with artistic.
Yeah. So is that company right now, does it make you good money?
Yeah.
The detailing?
Yeah. Well, I bought a car wash also in Beverly Hills. So.
And you take care of the complex cars, right?
Yeah, I take care of people there. I take care of
Did you have one by the gym too? Like Equinox or something?
Yeah, so it's all in the same building. So our headquarters is there. I bought that car wash 2 months before COVID, which really fucked me too, dude. Because it cost me $100.
Is that the Beverly Hills one? Or?
Yeah, that's the one in Beverly Hills.
So the Beverly Hills where the Equinox is?
Yeah, where the Equinox is at. Right across the street from Mr. Chow's.
Yeah.
So I bought that 2 months before COVID. And I gave up all my savings. I had like $100,000 between attorneys, between paying off the guy to move out, like everything. It was about $100,000. And then I was all like, I opened up for 2 months and it got packed. And then COVID hit. And for a year and a half, I couldn't wash cars there. And I still had to pay rent.
How'd you do it?
I went back and doing mobile by myself. I had to, and I had 9 guys at that time. I hired all kinds of employees and I was like, I finally fucking made it. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is what it's about.
And right there, that you only had that.
Yeah, I only had that, the mobile and the car wash at that time.
So right now you have that car wash, and you also have mobile.
Yeah, so car wash, an actual facility headquarters, mobile detailing, and then I also own a Muay Thai kickboxing gyms, one in North Hollywood, and we just opened up another one in Glendale.
Yeah, but before we get into that, so you were born in El Salvador, or you were born here?
Nah, I was born in the jungles of El Salvador, bro.
So talk about that. Like, so when were you born, and when did you come here, and how was who got you into entrepreneurship?
Well, I was born there in 1980. I was either 1 or 2 when I got here, according to my grandma and my mom. From when they told me, I remember they told me, I guess you cross a river, right? When you come from Mexico, there's I don't know if it's still there, but there's a river.
That's what they call them mojados, right?
Yeah, well, they dropped me, bro, and I went down the river for a mile. And my grandma said, it was crazy. Yeah, it was so crazy. She was like, but that's why they called me an actual mojado. They would make fun of me when I was a child, So you were on the floaty? No, bro. I just had a blanket and my grandma slipped and she just dropped me and I went down the river and everybody was chasing me.
Really?
So they're as I grew up, they would be like, oh, this is a true mojado, But yeah, so I came here. My mom has always been a hustler until the day she passed away. She would always sell cobijas, Mexican blankets, with the tiger. And I remember vividly.
I have some of those,
yeah. So I remember vividly. We used to live across the street from the LA Coliseum. And I was 5 years old. She would always take me.
South Central, right?
Yeah. Whatever that is. Yeah. South Central. And she would sell blankets. And she would take me all the time. I remember her getting mugged, for her purse and stuff like that. And it's crazy because I remember those things that were just it was yesterday.
Yeah.
All the dramatic stuff that I've gone through is I don't know. I hold on to it, but I use it as passion. You know what I mean? To be kind, to be good, to genuinely make money the right way and all that, So it's pretty inspiring for me.
And then when you came over here, when did you want to become a millionaire and a business owner?
So I have a friend.
Because you probably had a lot of jobs, right? Before?
Yeah. Not too many, but well, check this out. I had got this job for the city, right? The paving. And I was I'm set for life. It was $1,000 a week. They paid for my cell phone. They paid for my gas. And they gave me a $500 bonus for my vehicle, like an allowance. And I was all fuck, dude. I think I'm 23. And I'm this is my job for the rest of my life. I'm set. I made it. And then one day they're like, oh, you need to do a drug test. And I was like, oh, okay. Not a big deal. I've done it before. I popped my glove box and I have this juice that allows you to pass a drug test. So I take it and everything and I fail. My boss calls me and I was a good employee. I've always been a great hard worker. And my boss calls me and he's like, hey, you failed it. It says that you have cocaine in your system. I have to let you go. And I was like devastated. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like genuinely, what am I going to do in my life? And I used to work at the junkyard prior to that, you know?
So you liked the cocaine back in the day?
Yeah, I love the cocaine, bro. Like it's an amazing drug, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? It's an amazing drug. I was kind of like you. I don't know if you ever did drugs, but I love women, alcohol, all that stuff, bro.
Well, the best combination, the best triplex is cocaine, sex, and alcohol.
It sounds like the Wolf of Wall Street, bro. Like sniffing up the ass.
Like sex alone, sex alone is good.
Yeah.
But like when you add liquor and sex, it's even better.
Yeah.
But like when you add cocaine, alcohol to the sex, that's like the best sex I've ever had.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I don't do that anymore.
Neither do I.
But the best sex I've ever had in my life was the combination of alcohol, cocaine, and sex. That's the best sex you'll ever have.
You know, when I
don't recommend it though. I mean, I recommend it, but at the same time, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, me too. But you know what was crazy was that, so I was devastated, bro. My boss cried. That's how much he loved me. He was like, you fucked up, Edwin. He's like, you're the best employee I've ever had. Like, I could always depend on you, but I have to listen to corporate and I have to let you go. So I quit my job. I didn't quit my job. I got fired. I went home and I was like, how the fuck am I going to live?
Yeah. And
I went back to my boss at the junkyard, El Pulpo and all that, like in memory lane. And I was like, hey, can I get a job? And he was like, yeah, it's $7 an hour or whatever it was then. And I was like, fuck it, whatever, I'll take it. And so I took it, I went back, and anyways, I'm there. I don't remember how long, maybe a couple years. And I see one of my friends pull up and he's like, hey, I'm going to visit you. And he comes and he has a Bentley and he pulls up and he comes out in a suit and everything. And then like, I see some guys pull up in a van and they start washing his car. And like, he's talking to me, but I can't help but to like pay attention to what's happening in the background. I'm like, is that your Bentley? And he's like, yeah, that's my Bentley. And I'm like, we grew up the same. What decisions did you make that you got a Bentley and you're living like this, that I'm here in the fucking junkyard with a hard hat and everything? And he's like, I did real estate. And this was prior to 2008, you know?
Yeah.
So everybody was bankrolling at that time. And I was all like, fuck, that's crazy. And I remember when he left, I told my friend at that time, I was like, hey, we should do a car wash business. Like, we should do like what those guys are doing, but we should wear ties and we should do high end, like do something nobody's doing. And he's like, all right, let's do it. So we save up for like 8 months to a year. I think it was like $8,000, $9,000. We start selling car parts, things like that, because we used to like classic cars. And we finally gather everything. We buy a 1996 van from a plumber. We get our equipment and we tell our boss like, hey, we're going to quit. So we quit. I had 125 in my bank account. I don't know how much he had. And we go off, bro. And we're like, let's start washing cars.
What year is this?
2005, July.
And you had 125K in your bank?
No, $125. Oh, fuck, I wish, bro. I had $125 in my account. I didn't have nothing, you know? And like, I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I go to Ross or wherever and I buy a tie. And I remember just being like, hey, let's do this. And my business partner at that time, because he owned the company with me, he's like, I don't want to do that. And he was like, you look like a Jehovah's Witness, you know? And I was like, but this will work. Like, people with high-end cars, they'll look at us and they'll be like, hey, like, I trust this guy.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't know how to, like, back then, and at that time, it was when the push buttons came out for the BMWs. And I didn't know how to do that, you know? And so, you know, that's when we started off. And that's kind of where the journey, you know, it all went off from.
And so now the detailing business that you have the place, you have the mobile. Now like that company, because now you have a new company, the gym, right?
Yeah.
So like, would you say that the gym is 80% of the income and the car wash 20%? Is it like 50-50 or where does the revenue come right now?
I would say 45% is the car wash, 45% is the gym. But the gym, we're very conservative, so we save a lot.
Yeah. So
could we pay ourselves hundreds of thousands of dollars every year? Yeah, but we have a lot saved. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I would say another 30% is in investments that I have, like hard money loans and stuff like that I've lent to people. And then I also do coaching because I got on the program with Wes Watson.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been pretty good. I think I started like 2-3 months ago. So I averaged like 15 grand a month around there. So.
So do you use that more like is that like your spending money?
Which one?
The coaching money?
More for my branding. So like
So you just invest in,
yeah.
you reinvest it in your brand.
Yeah, like Paul, like stuff like camera, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do that because I just want to, everybody that's been talking right now, it's all, branding yourself, and like kind of that's the route that I'm going with. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now, bro.
So the two companies, which one do you feel like is more scalable?
Oh, the gym, bro.
So what's your plan with the gym and with the car wash?
So the gym is definitely right now, we want to get it to, our goal for next year is we want to get it to like around 2.5 million. So right now we're crossing over the 2. We've been growing pretty rapidly, to be honest with you. It's a very profitable business, like a easy, I think it's like a 68% net on that, and which is pretty good. You know what I mean? And in the car wash, I wanted to sell it, but I've realized is the gateway to all my relationships. Everybody that I know has an exotic car, and we live in the capital of cars, bro. We live in LA, Beverly Hills, and there's not one person that I haven't met because of the cars. So our relationship, I use that leverage to get closer to you. Yeah, I did your coaching, but at the end of the day, coaching was only 3 hours. Washing your cars was for years. You know what I mean? So having you in that proximity where I can still have that relationship with you, it's helped me out. I mean, you look at RD, you look at all these people who have high-end vehicles. You even look at Wes when he came into town. Like, everybody's got a high-end car. So it's always easier for me to be like, hey, come on by, let me detail your car. Hey, let me send you this for free. Hey, let me send somebody to go detail your car. So it allows that avenue to open up so I can build a relationship with you.
Yeah. And what about with the gym? Do you want to open up, so the car wash, do you want to expand and go bigger, or do you want to keep it like that just to get the relationships?
I want to keep it for the relationships.
So the gym, do you want to expand it? Do you want to franchise? What's your plan with that?
So believe it or not, today I actually have a meeting later on with Ty Lopez. I'm not sure if Ty Lopez will be on the call, but with his people. And we originally wanted to either franchise it or just own them and go nationwide with them.
Do you have a blueprint that you're following, or who's like somebody that you model or a model that you do for franchising gyms? Because I don't know if you remember Sam Bakhtiar. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Sam Bakhtiar, he had the camp.
Yeah.
He had the camp and they franchised. Bedros Koulian has also his Body Fit Boot Camp.
Right.
And there's also, do you know the Self-Made?
Yeah, the gyms.
Guy, Miguel Aguilar?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel between those three? Is there one that you're gonna kind of model, or do you have a different idea?
Well, it originally started, and that's funny that you say that. You know Rumble Boxing? Didn't you have somebody here the other day that owned the Rumble?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I got the inspiration. Okay, do you know Edwin Lopez? You had him at Driven One. Yeah. Okay, so he's my client and he's my friend. And it's because of Driven. Just so you guys know, a majority of my relationships, I came from Driven.
What do you think? What do you think so? Because a lot of people say that. A lot of people say, "Hey, I met a lot of people. My relationships came from Driven."
I don't think everybody says that. I think the smart ones say that. I think people go over there and think their lives are gonna change without doing shit. Like, I put in work, bro. Like, I tap into everybody. I give before I ask. You know what I mean? He just came on my podcast not too long ago. He's been my client for how long has it been? 7 years. You know what I mean? So it's the relationships that I build with him. So get this, okay? I ask him for advice to Edwin Arroyave, and he tells me, meet me at this place called Rumble in Hollywood. And we're gonna take a class together. And then after the class, I'll mentor you. I'll give you like an hour. So I said, cool. We just barely took over the gym. We were not making any money. We go there and we look at the model of how they run that structure. You go in there, they run the gloves. You have to buy hand wraps. You pay for the class. It's structure. One instructor is going to teach that class. There's a system. And then after that one, there's another class. So we're like, what about if we run this kind of system? What about we build a system for kickboxing, Muay Thai especially, which doesn't exist in our community? And so we said, let's follow that model. Why try to reinvent the wheel? Let's kind of like, in a sense, copy with what they're doing in our own sense with kickboxing. And obviously, we try to figure out pricing, the structure, the 3 tiers and all that, how we're going to work it out. Right now, finally, we were able to tap into where we have a system that runs with 60 classes a week. We have over 600 members per our highest location. We have a kids class and everything. We have automatic payment, contracts, and all that. And now it's kicking off where we have an actual structure where it runs in a sense on its own to where like our customers know what to expect when they come to our company. And I think that's what we're trying to see. So that's where Edwin told me when we sat down that day after that, he was all like, this is the model that you got to do. This is how you got to do it. If you're going to be big, you got to have something where it's sellable. Like if an investor comes or somebody wants to buy it from you, they're going to ask you like, well, what accounts do you have? How do you retain your members? Like what systems do you have? Can we do it? Can anybody do it? If you leave the company, how's it going to do it? And that's really has been our focus, systems and procedures and really knowing our metrics and all that, and how the company runs.
So the biggest location has 600 members and it's all memberships?
It's all memberships.
So what are the pricing tiers?
It's 200. It is 180 and 200, 250, and 230 and 250 per month.
The highest one is 300.
The highest one is 250,
250.
Right? Yeah. 250.
So what's the difference?
It is your contract. So like if you want a lower contract, you pay more. So if you want a 3-month contract, it's 250. If you do a 6-month contract, it's 230. And if you do a year contract, it's 200.
But you get the same thing. It's just different pricing.
Everything is the same. It's just your commitment, right? Like
so when you're a member, since it's the same, what does a member get? Like, can you go every day and be there all day, or how does it work?
Yeah, you could take unlimited classes. We have 6 different instructors. Most of our instructors are either retired or active fighters. So we have people who know what they're teaching. You could take multiple classes. We are open from 5 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. We're open 7 days a week. So we wanted to make sure when we structured us, we wanted to crush our competition, do things that nobody else was willing to do, which was open every single day, like any big box gym. We wanted to be able to have multiple classes. We're app-based, so you could do your you could submit your request what class you want to take, when you want to take, and you could take multiple classes and all that. So, and that's what's made us different from everybody else in our industry.
And that's one location. That's the big location. Is that the Glendale one?
No, that's the North Hollywood one.
North Hollywood one. Yeah. What about the Glendale one?
The Glendale one is good. We've surpassed I think we have about 110 memberships right now. We've been open for 5 months. It's definitely a different avatar of the people that we have and the way our members are, which has kind of like set us back in a sense that like, well, that's our second location. We didn't know how it was going to go about because we've been so spoiled with our North Hollywood location. People just flood in the gate into our North Hollywood location. Yeah. We have a brand, we have a stand, we have hundreds of reviews, we have a 5-point star. Like everybody loves us there in our community, So going to Glendale, it's by the Americana. You ever heard of the Americana?
Yeah.
So it's more high end, more nice. It used to be a UFC gym. So we bought it out. And so it's
Is it a nicer location?
Yeah, definitely, bro. It's like really high end modern, So it's on a main street. It's on Broadway and Wilson.
Shouldn't prices be higher there?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're going. And then that's kind of like our playbook for this year.
The WeHo Equinox prices are higher than like if you go to like downtown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was all the same.
Like if you go to the ghetto sides, Equinox is cheaper. But if you go to like the nicer sides, they're more expensive.
Yeah, I didn't know that. We're definitely changing our prices. So we just did our playbook for 2024, which talks about everything, our metrics, what we're predicting, our new merchandise and everything.
Think about it. If you get a car wash in Beverly Hills, it's going to be cheaper than if you get a car wash in Huntington Park.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about that, but we're definitely raising prices. That's for sure.
That's probably why that's maybe one of the things that it's a little bit different, a different challenge there because it's just different types of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely.
So the Glendale gym, you want to get it up to like 600 also?
No, I don't think we could cap it out to that. It'd be nice, but
it bigger or the same size?
It's smaller.
Oh, smaller.
Yeah. So our first location is about 5,000 square feet with about 3,000 of actual floor where people practice. This current location that we got is about, I want to say it's probably about 1,500 square feet. But that's what we learned from like mentors and stuff like that because we joined an organization that teaches you how to grow gyms. And what we're learning is that smaller locations, you could expand more and have more as opposed to looking for warehouses that are 5,000 square feet. Especially if you're trying to look for a boutique place on a mainstream, it's just too expensive real estate. I mean, what we pay our North Hollywood for rent as opposed to Glendale, it's fucking crazy, bro. Our rent is insane.
So it's more in Glendale than the Hollywood.
Yeah,
even though it's way smaller.
Yeah, a lot more, almost triple.
Yeah. What about opening more locations like the North Hollywood and those kind of price areas for square footage?
I mean, definitely that's something we want to do. I think what happened was with the UFC gym, the opportunity came. It was already built. It was really cheap for us to buy.
Yeah.
We took over the lease, and it was kind of one of those transitions where like, we're fucking stupid that you didn't take us, because honestly, it would have cost us at least $300,000 to structure that place the way we have it right now. That cost us pennies to the dollar for what we bought it for.
Yeah. So right now the North Hollywood is obviously really profitable. Can you add more members to that, or are you
definitely? I think we could get up to 800 to 1,000 members. I just think the economy is definitely shifting everything for everybody, and then you have the writer strike and all that. Because you got to remember, the people who come and train at our gyms are not necessarily individuals who are like entrepreneurs or stuff like that. There are people who like are passionate about Muay Thai, want to learn self-defense, want to release stress, people who are part of the community, things like that. So it's like when the economy shifts a lot, and especially it's a luxury to be at our gym. It's one of the things that some people unfortunately cut out, which is probably the worst thing to do, because it's your health and it helps you and it helps your mind and everything. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
Because that's not cheap either. Like $200 a month, $250 a month, especially like in North Hollywood. Like, not that it's a lesser area, but it's a more affordable area.
Yeah.
So people could go to like Planet Fitness, for example, and pay like $25 and get pizza, or what is it, $9?
Yeah.
Or whatever they charge.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of compete against those people, right? In a way.
I mean, look, I don't know. Have you ever had the executive one at Equinox?
I still have it, and I never go.
Yeah.
Like, I pay $400.
I love that shit, bro. It's the best relationships. I know all kinds of millionaires and billionaires because of that place, bro. It's the best.
You go to Equinox?
Yeah, I have the executive, the whole thing. I told Kim, like, hey, Kim, if the economy gets too bad, we're going to go to Crunch, okay? She's like, fuck no. You
go to Equinox in
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, literally, I have conversations with people.
I find like there's a different crowd in Beverly Hills than the one here.
Yeah, bro. It's the best. Beverly Hills is the best.
Really?
Yeah, bro. It's the most richest people. This one is more like Hollywood, bro. More like influencers and all that. You're talking.
I got my membership here because there was a lot of hot ass chicks. Like,
yeah.
Like when I joined, I think I joined like 10 years ago. I was just there for the hot chicks. And the nice cars.
They all have hot chicks though. I don't know how many hot chicks there is in this one.
Beverly Hills is more like the older crowd. So
yeah.
when I went there, it was just like a different crowd. So I like the WeHo crowd better.
It's more younger, right? Like more
like young hot girls. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't gotten that. I don't think they'll let me in that one.
I don't see why.
I don't know if the Southern California covers that one. It does? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go there. I mean, to work out, not the hot chicks.
I highly recommend that gym if you've never been there.
No shit? Yeah, I've never been there.
Yeah.
Really good workout.
Yeah? Yeah.
You get really good workouts.
That's dope, bro. That's like a 2-story one, no? Or something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. And I have the executive lockers.
So you never go there?
I haven't. And I'm not showing off, but every time I go there, it's more like talking, and I get quite a few people that are like, "Hey, Albert, I follow you," and I can't really work out, and so like I have to drive, park, get off the car, go in there, walk in there, and then work out, spend a lot of time talking, and then get out. So for me, it's more convenient here because I have my laptop and I'm working out quick. Like I'm gonna work out after like in a few hours. I'm gonna work out here and it's quick because I'm always jumping from one thing to the next.
Got it.
So that's why I don't go. But I want to keep it though because I have my locker there, so I don't want to lose it. But it is $400 every month. So I was always telling me, you never go there. Like, you should cancel it. But I'm like, I don't want to lose my locker.
Yeah, don't, bro.
Like you said, what if the economy gets bad? I'm going to go there and take showers.
Yeah, fuck it, bro.
I'm
With
just
hot
kidding
chicks.
about that.
But listen, I had a question for you right now that you talked about people going up to you and all that. Did you see that Ty Lopez, how we said like the popularity, like between if you're 7 or 8? Where are you at? Where do you feel you're at?
It depends where I'm at. But it's definitely higher than ever.
So like a local celebrity, right? Because they say there's different types. Like if you're in your hometown, what number would you say you're at?
I don't remember the numbers very well, but I know that he was talking about like being recognized once every minute, once every hour. But if I go out, if I go out to places, and the thing is, I don't really go out.
Mm.
Like I'm only here or at home, and now I have security around because I've been robbed 3 times. So that's one of the reasons why I don't even go next door to sushi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just like I'm just aware of how people are right now.
Yeah.
And it's part of being known. But if I go out, and I do go out sometimes, but I'll drive my undercover car. I won't have any watches on. I'll dress down. When I'm with my kids, I hide. But I don't, so I still do it, but I do it in a hiding way. But if I go out there, I would say I don't get recognized every minute, but I would say for sure I get recognized every hour.
Nice. I think
in my area.
That's a 7, I think. That's a 7 no, that's an 8 in your area. That's pretty good, bro.
Yeah. And if I'm out in other areas, I still get recognized, but it's not maybe that frequent. But it's definitely good and bad. I mean, I hired an employee like security, right? And this guy runs up to me and he's like, hey, because he's one of my securities. And they alternate because I have a few and it's like all day, 24 hours. So he comes and he's like, hey, my girlfriend follows you. You're Albert Preciado, huh? And it's like crazy. I'm like, so like it's crazy. And I can't imagine like other people, it's way worse. So then like he was talking to Lopez about when you're super, super known, it's good and bad. But it's just you just gotta deal with the pros and cons. But if somebody gave me $1 billion and told me like, hey, we'll take away all your social media, I would be like, cool. Take away all my social media. Nobody knows me anymore, but I have $1 billion in the bank. I would take that all day.
But
long.
You don't like the attention? You seem like you like the attention.
I do it more because it makes me money. But if somebody gave me $1 billion, I would trade the $1 billion for no attention. That way I could just use those billions and be with my family and do other things.
Yeah.
I'd rather be like the billionaire that nobody knows than the multi-millionaire that everybody knows.
Does because Ty Lopez was saying that's kind of why he stepped back away from the whole social media thing. He said it was getting crazy. People were like he had to get people arrested. People were trying to break into his home. All kinds of shit was happening.
Yeah, but Ty also, he had other things that he was doing. Like he started buying companies and he did other things. So there's more to that, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I had one more question, bro. I know that like, so how now that you're more popular and all that, and obviously you're 7, 8, how does it work with the women and all that? They bombard you too?
Like girls that want to hook up?
Yeah. All
the time. Like I get like videos and like they send me like naked videos and show me their private parts and I go to the Equinox and some girls recognize me and things like that. But that's one of the reasons I don't go to Equinox.
Yeah.
And also like I'm just retired from that. So my main, I replace that with my 3 daughters. So my 3 daughters come first and I'm just committed to my daughters and my wife. Right. And then I'm busy with work. So my goal right now is to be a billionaire. It's been for a while. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just focused on that. That's why I said I'm not drinking I'm not drinking for a while. At least 45 days, no alcohol, and also 2 workouts a day and no cheat meals. So I'm gonna do zero cheat meals, and I'm gonna work 18 hours a day, every day here for the next 45 days at the least. Because I have a lot of big moves and a lot of lessons I want to teach people.
And what's the outcome out of that, aside from the discipline and the transformation of your body?
I just really, really, really have big lessons to teach to certain people.
Okay.
Yeah. And that drives me. Yeah.
I love that. I love it, bro.
And I think you do too.
Yeah, I do. There's a lot of motherfuckers I don't like, bro. But it's because, I don't know, they just came across weird and they just fucking switch it up, But I think definitely, I mean, like, my story, I just lost 60 pounds in the last year. Yeah. Been working out consistent, do private training. He hit Equinox, count my macros, all that, and just make a complete transformation, bro. Because I'm seeing a tremendous amount of my compound of like the growth in my businesses and income and money. And it's just coming more rapidly now But I don't want to be a fucking fat ass that looks like shit. I have a beautiful girlfriend, you know what I mean, that we ride together. And it's like, I want to be the best version of myself, not only for, obviously for myself, for my girl, for my kids and all that, and just really show of what a true great example is of a man who's gone through all kinds of adversity and just created something great with inside and also outside in the world, you know?
Yeah, plus you're a leader. And also that's another reason why I want to do it, because I need to lead by example, and you're a leader too, so you have to lead by example. So I think that's a great thing. And it's also very evident who's doing good right now. And I always say, like, it's very, very easy to tell who's doing good and who's not, because you see the way they look, you see their skin, you see their body language, you see the look, and you see their eyes. Like when you look at people's eyes, like you could see in their eyes if they're doing good or not. Their body language, people start slouching. People go on social media and they stop posting. And then when they post, they don't even believe the bullshit they're saying because it's all fake. They're lying. They're borderline bankrupt, and they're pretending to have Ferraris. They're pretending to be like influencers. They're pretending to be, oh, I'm selling so many homes, or I'm doing so good in business. But you could tell, like I could tell, and it's very easy to tell. So like for you, like I could see it too, because I see like you're working out, you're in the best shape of your life, you're taking care of yourself, you're working, you're showing up, you're not stopping, you're investing in information, mentors. You just keep showing up, but your body language, what I said, the look in your eyes, the way you carry yourself, like you could see it. I don't know if you could tell the same thing, but like when somebody's bullshitting, like I could read through their eyes, their body language, everything. It's so easy for me to pick people apart. So when I see somebody on social media and they're putting stories or they're putting posts, and I'm like, I look and I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit. Like I could see it. But remember, most people can't see it because most people, they get brainwashed and they're just average people. So they can't tell that. But like people like us can see it.
Right.
You know, like I was with, I've been with Patrick. I've been with Ed Milet. I've been with people like that. And they see through your eyes, and they almost like, you know, that like now when I see the videos from back in the day, I could see that they're looking at me and they're kind of like processing all the stuff in their head, because they see through your eyes. I don't know if that makes sense. Do you ever deal with that?
Yeah, all the time,
you
bro.
can tell when people are bullshitting.
All the
right?
time, bro. And it's crazy now that I've done more, like I'm starting to do the coaching and all that.
Yeah.
Like you can tell when somebody's genuinely passionate and when somebody just is bullshit about how bad they want it. And I tell Kim, like, she was just telling me, like, just focus on the people who really want it. Focus on the people who are willing to do the work, because it's not about having somebody give you money, because it's like, it's a lot of energy, bro, to mentor people. Would you agree?
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy, bro. Like, yeah, the money's great, but like it comes to a point where you're like, fuck, you want to see results? You want to see, like Wes always says, client wins, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, like, you want other people to evolve from it, you know? Because at some point, we invested in somebody, they invested in us knowledge, and then we grew out of it and we showed results, you know?
Yeah.
And that's probably the best thing that you could give to any mentor, is show them like, fucking did it. You know what I mean? That's why I think Patrick took a liking to me. We continue to build a relationship. And it's because I always fucking put in the work and I showed it by results. You know what I mean? So, and that's one thing that I've seen from you. It's like, you've never let off, bro. You've always continued to grow. And I almost got discouraged, like I told you in our last fucking our last podcast. Like somebody almost like for a little bit discouraged me from listening to you.
Yeah, and that's because he was a reject. So like now all the rejects hang together. So I mean, when you're in a pile of rejects, like, dude, I wish him the best. I feel bad for them, and you know, just hopefully they recover. But if you're in a pile of mud like that, it's almost impossible to bounce back. So like once you fall in that pile of mud, I hope you're good. And if you're watching this, like, you know, I wish you the best. But I found a really good way to make the coaching work really good. I'll tell you about it later. Like monetize it and how it makes sense, and it leads to more business for all your other businesses. But to wrap up, Edwin, I know that I'm very proud of you being, you know, from El Salvador, immigrant, coming here and building what you built. A message to people watching this to close out. Like, why do you do what you do? And why didn't you give up when times got really, really tough to get to this point right now? And what is your motive for people that follow you?
Well, definitely I am super proud American. You know what I mean? I love this country with a passion. I have a fucking full eagle tattooed on my chest. That's how much I love, the US. But it's just opportunity, man. It's just the fact that you can do anything or have anything in this world. I always knew that there was a possibility, even when I didn't have anything. I just think that the biggest thing that helped me was the people I hung around with. It wasn't even that I had money. For a long time, I didn't have money, but I just changed my environment. And when I changed my environment and other people who were at least going in the same direction with me made me believe that it was only a matter of time. And just the fact that I told Kim the other day, I was all like, damn, I'm an immigrant from El Salvador who grew up in the projects, who's been through so much shit and sold drugs, did drugs and everything. And at any point, I made a decision to just change my life, that anybody could do it at any time. It's just, you got to drop the vices, you got to drop the bad habits, and you got to say, you know what? I want to change it, and I want to take advantage of what I have right now, because we only got one shot at this life, Yeah. And it doesn't matter when you do it, but you got to do it before it's too late, Yeah. But yeah, you just can't fucking give up, man.
Well, keep going, man. Look, I like to look at as a 30-year run. So like the first 10 years we talked about, you really didn't do anything. The second 10-year run, you did a lot. So imagine what you're going to do in the next 10 years. So let's see where Edwin is from 43 to 53.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, well, keep killing it, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Proud to have you, man.
All right, thank you.